At the dawn of all things, when the sun's rays first caress the earth between mighty rivers and towering mountains, legends speak of a steadfast and visionary people who carved out their destiny in a land of dramatic contrasts. In this world where desert sands merged with fertile valleys and pristine springs, a civilization called the Elamites was born. Today, we embark together on an epic journey, seeking the glory and mysteries of this ancient people, to revive the moments of their pinnacle, and to deeply comprehend how an empire once so powerful found itself lost in the twilight of history. Ready your spirit for a voyage through the immensity of ages past, where echoes of grand palaces, awe-inspiring temples, and bustling markets still resound beneath layers of earth and silence. As we step into this ancient landscape, we can almost sense the heartbeat of the ancestors who, many thousands of years ago, rose at dawn to begin a new day beneath the scorching sun and under the watchful gaze of their mysterious gods. The wind, once the bearer of triumphant songs and battle orders, still carries the stirrings of the past across these lands. Now is the moment to let ourselves be enveloped by the solemn atmosphere and to open our minds to the magnificent heritage of the Elamites. Everything begins with a tale of their origins, an ancient legend passed down from generation to generation, about how a people tempered by nature's challenges managed to build a destiny amid adversities and hopes. It is believed that the earliest forms of social and political organization among the Elamites took shape around the 3rd millennium before our era, in a region situated east of the famous Sumerian cities and north of the sandy plains that lead toward the mountains. Drawn by the fertile soil near certain valleys and the wealth of natural resources, these people began to unite into stable communities. At first, they were just small tribal settlements, led by councils of elders or influential chieftains. But over time, thanks to trade exchanges and artisanal development, the tiny villages flourished and turned into the first city-states. In time, the Elamites came to be mentioned in the writings of their Mesopotamian neighbors, who described them either as trade partners or as rivals in battles for hegemony. It is said that during their period of greatest expansion, the Elamites ruled vast territories, from the fertile southern plains to the steep hills at the foot of the mountains. Modern historians, based on artifacts and clay tablets discovered in archaeological sites, consider that the Elamites developed a complex system of governance with powerful kings and successive dynasties, each one aspiring to leave behind unique monuments and creations. Elamite society was structured on a model that combined divine kingship with a council formed of nobles and sages. The king was viewed as the representative of the gods on earth, and coronation rituals took place in impressive temples adorned with bas-reliefs and rich offerings. Nobles held administrative, military, or diplomatic responsibilities, while priests enjoyed considerable influence, guiding the community's spiritual life and holding a crucial role in interpreting celestial signs. Although most inhabitants were farmers, craftsmen, or merchants, society provided ways to achieve recognition and to reward talents, emphasizing loyalty, courage, and wisdom. The Elamites left behind an impressive legacy in the form of artworks, monumental constructions, and technological achievements. One of their most remarkable accomplishments was the development of an architectural style that blended local elements with influences arising from their commercial contacts with other civilizations. Building walls were erected from sun-baked bricks, yet they gained remarkable durability thanks to advanced construction techniques and local materials. Royal palaces, raised on high platforms, stood out as landmarks of power and order, while temples were distinguished by decorated columns and interior courtyards where sacred ceremonies were held. Elamite artists specialized in metalworking, especially of copper and gold, creating fine jewelry and richly decorated daggers. On clay vessels, we find geometric motifs and stylized representations of sacred animals, notably imposing bulls and lions. Mural frescoes and relief sculptures depict hunting scenes, religious processions, or moments of homage to kings and gods, revealing a world in which myth and reality harmoniously fused. Many historians believe that Elamite art influenced, to some extent, the aesthetics of neighboring civilizations through the refinement of its motifs and its elaborate working techniques. Culturally, the Elamites were noted for developing their own writing system, adapted to the administrative and religious needs of their society. Although not as widespread or as well known as the Mesopotamian systems of writing, Elamite script remains one of the oldest written codes in human history. Clay tablets discovered in the ruins of Elamite cities confirm the existence of a well-organized bureaucracy, which recorded grain stocks, taxes, diplomatic agreements, and complex commercial relations. This need to communicate and document information propelled the cultural and administrative advancement of the civilization, having a major impact on the development of education and the social status of scribes. Every ancient civilization has its own pantheon of gods and protective spirits, and the Elamites were no exception. Though Mesopotamian influences left their mark on their religion, the Elamites preserved a powerful local thread. Legends speak of gods of fertility, water, and war, each one worshipped in temples where torchlight danced across faces carved in stone. It is said that on festival nights, priests invoked the power of these deities in a ritual of sacred songs and dances intended to ensure bountiful harvests and the kingdom's protection. The most famous legend tells of a founding hero, the son of a mountain goddess, who descended among men to teach them the art of cultivating the earth and metalworking. This hero, named Elam Shuhur in certain inscriptions, is said to have unified the scattered tribes, laying the foundations of the first capital. Legend holds that at his death, the mountains trembled in sorrow and the rivers wept with raging waters, a sign of the profound bond between the forces of nature and the destiny of the Elamites. The civilization's mythology also includes countless tales of demons and spirits said to haunt the crossroads between worlds. In popular belief, these demons could only be driven away by special rituals that involved the entire community and the most powerful priests. In rural areas, when crops were threatened by drought or locust invasions, peasants would bring offerings to appease these entities. Such traditions, rich in symbolism, contributed to the cultural cohesion and sense of identity that animated the Elamites over the centuries. During their peak, the Elamites thrived largely due to their strategic geographic position, which allowed them to control vital trade routes between the Middle East, India, and the mineral-rich mountainous zones. Through their caravans loaded with metals, precious stones, and artisanal goods, they established commercial links with various kingdoms and city-states, becoming bridges between the cultures of the time. Elamite cities, built on the banks of rivers and at the foot of mountains, teemed with life. Markets bustled with merchants advertising their wares. Artisans polished semi-precious stones. Peasants brought fresh fruits and vegetables, and scribes dutifully recorded taxes and transactions. Their irrigation system, based on ingenious canals and wooden dams, demonstrated a high level of knowledge and social organization. Alongside agriculture, crafts such as bronzeworking, pottery, weaving, and ivory carving brought prosperity and well-being, ensuring a dynamic domestic market and a profitable external trade. Militarily, the Elamites earned a reputation as bold, disciplined warriors using war chariots and effective bows. Considering their proximity to significant rival forces, such as various Mesopotamian kingdoms, military power was essential for maintaining independence and protecting their accumulated wealth. Society at the height of Elamite power was relatively diverse and offered certain avenues of social mobility to those skilled in trades or those with leadership abilities. Rural communities thrived under the protection of kings and nobles who invested in public projects such as paved roads or drainage systems in urban areas. The education of scribes and the initiation of priests ensured the continuity of spiritual values and the functioning of institutions. As a result, this balance between religion, governance, and commerce sustained the Elamite flame for centuries, even in the face of historical vicissitudes. Yet, like all great powers of the ancient world, the Elamites were not spared difficulties. Despite attempts at stabilization, the region's geopolitical situation was extremely volatile. With the rise of new rival states in Mesopotamia and the emergence of warlike tribes in the mountainous areas, military pressure on Elamite territories increased significantly. Some sources speak of aggressive campaigns waged against the Elamites, resulting in the destruction of certain cities and the plundering of temples, which undermined the population's morale and weakened royal authority. On the other hand, climate shifts and fluctuations in watercourses appear to have severely affected agriculture. Prolonged droughts likely led to poor harvests, famine, and consequently, social tensions. In some periods, it is said that revolts by exasperated peasants shook the established order, while struggles for succession to the throne became another destabilizing factor. Moreover, the Elamites' greatness always drew envy and a desire for conquest from other peoples, who eventually succeeded in defeating this once proud kingdom. There is also a more mythical view of the Elamites' disappearance. According to certain legends, the gods punished the civilization for the pride of its rulers. They speak of a devastating earthquake, sent as a warning, followed by catastrophic floods that supposedly swept some cities off the face of the earth. Thus, nature is attributed a decisive role in the destruction of Elamite cities, while survivors, horrified and marginalized, are said to have scattered to other lands, blending with neighboring peoples. In reality, the end of the Elamites was most likely the result of a combination of internal factors, power struggles, economic stagnation, social tensions, and external factors, armed invasions, successive conquests, and possibly climate changes that turned the environment more hostile. Beyond the mystery shrouding the last chapters of their history, one thing is certain. Gradually, Elamite civilization was engulfed by new empires, and its traces remained hidden beneath the dust of history for a very long time. For those passionate about the secrets of the ancient world, the ruins of Elamite cities represent a true window into the past. Although many vestiges are still buried or in precarious condition, archaeological excavations have unearthed paved streets, the foundations of administrative buildings and majestic temples, as well as interior courtyards where priests and royal officials once gathered. The objects discovered, iron tools, decorated pottery, inscriptions, seals, and even textile remains allow us to imagine the daily scene of a sophisticated and energetic people who united spiritual values with material prosperity. Beyond large structures, excavations have also revealed intimate aspects, such as household organization, rudimentary furniture, drainage systems, and spaces dedicated to food processing. For instance, mortar and pestle pieces have been found, used to grind cereals and spices brought from distant lands. These details suggest a high standard of living for that era and a diverse diet accessible not only to the elite, but also to ordinary residents. Every fragment of historical evidence brings to life a new facet of this civilization, and researchers still strive to decode inscriptions that have not been fully deciphered. Moreover, archaeologists believe that beneath layers of debris lie countless objects and structures capable of rewriting entire segments of Elamite chronology. Thus, their spirit has not entirely disappeared. Even though the empire collapsed, the memory of these remarkable people lives on through the vestiges they left behind. Although the Elamite civilization was for a long time less known to the general public than the Egyptian or Mesopotamian civilizations, its importance for the region's history and for humanity's development cannot be underestimated. They established commercial, cultural, and political bridges among various parts of the ancient world, contributing to the formation of an international trade network unparalleled in those times. The mutual influences between the Elamites and their neighbors can be seen in how art, religion, and technology advanced and evolved through interaction and exchange. Particularly noteworthy is their tradition in writing and resource administration, which had a remarkable impact on later governance methods throughout the region. Mesopotamian chronicles frequently mention the Elamites' role in maintaining regional balance of power and in trading precious stones, rare wood, and metals. After their collapse, the remnants of this people, either in the form of dissident clans or communities assimilated by new powers, continued their existence, perpetuating certain ancestral customs and traditions. For modern historiography, studying the Elamites has opened new horizons regarding how ancient cultures interacted with one another, demonstrating that the exchange of ideas and goods was by no means confined to the space of a single civilization. Moreover, the variety of Elamite artifacts and the complexity of their writing offer researchers valuable clues about the evolution of language, religion, and art in this part of the world. Hence, far from being merely a vanished civilization, the Elamites are an essential key for understanding the puzzle of the great ancient cultures. Today, thousands of years after the last Elamite kings lost their crowns and faded away, we still feel the ancient call of these places. In times past, bold travelers and passionate researchers likewise ventured among the ruins, attempting to unravel the mysteries of a forgotten people. Before them stood collapsed columns, walls eroded by wind and sun, shattered statues, and fragmented pottery that wordlessly recounted the story of a remarkable destiny. Each piece of pottery or inscribed stone has its own narrative, and together these shards of the past reconstruct the mosaic of a civilization that left behind both a magnificent legacy and an ephemeral breath. Perhaps our attraction to the Elamites arises precisely because we, modern humans, can find ourselves in their struggles and dreams. We might glimpse between the cracks of ancient temples the universal need to leave a legacy, to make our presence felt in the flow of time. Or maybe, like them, we too face forces that test our resilience. be they natural disasters, social conflicts, or global transformations. Thus, the story of the Elamites is not just about a long-ago epoch, but about the human condition itself, about the cycles of flourishing and decline that define the course of civilizations. We have therefore arrived at the end of this journey through time, carried by the wind that once bore the echoes of royal fanfares and the voices of Elamite priests. Behind us, the palaces, temples, and lively markets have slipped beneath layers of earth and oblivion, yet their beauty and spiritual power still inspire us. The Elamites, with their mysteries, dreams, and battles, have shown us that sometimes a civilization can be like an intense fire, burning brightly for some centuries before fading, leaving behind only the gentle warmth of memory. Even so, their flame has not truly gone out. With every archaeological discovery, every study of the surviving texts, and every question posed by curious minds, the Elamites return to life. They rise from beneath the ruins and look upon us, reminding us that the past is never truly dead, that the pulse of history continues to beat through knowledge and understanding. Therefore, the ultimate message of this story is not to let silence definitively cloak the voices of a civilization that dared to hope, to create, and to fight for its own place under the sun. Perhaps one day each of us will answer the call to adventure, setting forth on archaeological expeditions, visiting the world's museums, or leafing through forgotten manuscripts to seek out those fragments of history that reveal the true grandeur of the Elamites. In the faint glow of imaginary torches, we will stand face to face with the noble shadows of a vanished people and feel in the profound silence of the past how their voices still speak of a grand dream. Just as the storm cannot entirely erase footprints in the sand, so too can time never fully erase the echo of an unyielding destiny. The story of the Elamites remains alive, like a torch shining across the ages, inviting us to rediscover their secrets and be inspired by their strength. And so this ode, dedicated to an empire that, although lost in the shadows of history, still breathes through the words that remain, through the ruins that pierce the silence, and through our desire to understand and connect with the past, comes to a close. In this moment of farewell, let us remember that every great story we uncover enriches our soul and opens new perspectives on the world, on time, and above all, on humanity's power to create and leave traces that never truly vanish. In the end, that is the most precious gift of the Elamite civilization, the very example that, as long as there are seekers of truth, the memory of a vanished world will be reborn again and again, like an undying flame in the midst of eternity.